Our next guest is an award-winning actor who's been gracing screen and stage for over 50 years. And if that's not enough, she also writes best-selling novels. Her latest book, Meet Me at Rainbow Corner, is out in paperback now. So please welcome the shimmery, glimmery Celia Imrie.
All right, Celia. Good morning, darling.
Wow, thank you.
It's
I
great
love
here,
that.
isn't it?
First thing in the morning. It's heaven.
Now, you can watch this, not you, because you can watch this because you're here and we're watching each other. But people can watch this now. If you download or you've downloaded the Virgin Radio app, we are now streaming this live. So we are being seen, Celia, anywhere in the world that people want to stream this. Well, we're streaming it, but people want to watch it, which is great. Celia Imrie, Meet Me at Rainbow Corner. This book, let's get straight in there, shall we? Let's dive straight in.
Let's.
All right, it's called Meet Me at Rainbow Corner. What is Rainbow Corner? Where was Rainbow Corner, and who might want to be meeting whom there?
Well, it was in the middle of Piccadilly Circus, a club only for the GIs. They had no rationing. They had 24-hour a day donuts, boxing, theatre tickets, and you had to go in. You could only go in if you were in service uniform, and it was all specially for the GIs. But they wanted to jitterbug too in their spare time.
Right.
So then they needed to have dance partners. And in the book, we've got Dot, who's from Liverpool, and she knows all the latest American songs. So she's brilliant at jitterbugging. She's a nurse, and she's invited by her sister on the ward. Why don't you go down there, volunteer yourself as a dance partner?
Right.
So anyway, you go in, marvellous American Bette Davis, Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire's sister was on the reception.
Wow.
And this club, do you know there's not even a plaque, Chris? Why not?
Because this is a real thing.
Yes.
It's a work of fiction, but it's based on many, many true stories.
Absolutely. And it was a great place. It was an oasis for the GIs. And, of course, the English girls fell in love with them. Why wouldn't they?
And 100,000, approximately 100,000 UK women ended up being GI brides.
Yes,
and some of them made it to America. Some didn't make it to America.
Exactly.
Some had wonderfully happy, everything ended happily ever after. Some had like disasters, the worst things you could imagine, and it's all in the book. And now Dot and Lily lead the charge. Who's Lily?
That's right. Lily is sort of loosely based on my mother, who was a bit posh, and she used to drive ambulances in the war like the Queen, and then entertain on her violin the troops. Lily Dot on the other hand is from Liverpool, based on Fidelis Morgan, my collaborator on the book and researcher. It's based on all her mother's letters. And honestly, Chris, when I say all, 3 trunkloads of letters. She was an absolute beauty. In the Red Cross nurse, 17, she saw horrible things. But she, of course, they all fell in love with her. 3 GIs fell in love with her. And all were dead by the end of the war.
Yeah, and my mum, who was in the war, we talked about this just off the air, didn't we? My mum used to say to me all the time, she wasn't directed at me necessarily, but she used to say things like, "You lot, you don't know you're born."
I know.
Because she was in the war, she made munitions, she was in the factory, my dad was in the RAF over in Egypt, and it was extraordinary. You know, people would go to bed at night and not know if their streets, let alone whether they would still be there in the morning, whether their street would be there in the morning.
I know, and some of them weren't. And it was an extraordinary time. I agree with you. We have no idea what it was like. As a generation, we haven't got a clue. So hopefully, through Fidelis Morgan's mother's letters, we've got some idea. You see, also, I don't know about your mum, but my mum used to say exactly the same thing, but they didn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
And I tried to work out, is that because they were so courageous and went through so much awfulness? Or is it because they didn't want to big themselves up for being so brave? I don't know.
I think a bit of both, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, my mum's friend Joan, she used to come around every Monday for a natter. And a woodbine when I was a kid, many woodbines to be honest.
Yes, of course.
And I think that's when they talked about it to each other. Yeah, and their other friends, you know. And you talk about the dancing here, you know. My mum met my dad at a dance, and it was very much their version of speed dating. And they could tell from, you know, in the first 30 seconds or first, even sooner, as they started dancing with somebody, whether or not what this person was like.
Through their dancing.
Yeah, and that's in here, isn't it? You talk about that sort of straight away.
Yep. And, you know, it was, you know, live for today because tomorrow we don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the extraordinary lives they led, which only we can imagine.
Yeah,
really.
So without giving, I mean, how far do you want to go with what happens in the book?
You see, the girls get engaged.
Yeah.
But then they've got to go across the Atlantic on a boat because that's
the
the
war
only way
eventually
to do it.
ends, thank goodness.
And then they probably have a gap of at least a year before they meet their husband or fiancé. And they have to go through rigorous things with their passports and everything else like that. And then, of course, they get to New York. Now, some of the husbands didn't turn up.
Uh-huh.
They'd sort of forgotten they'd got married.
Conveniently.
You know.
Yeah.
And then they had to make their way right across America and be dropped off at their various different places. They didn't know what they were going to. It was a huge thing. They had to say goodbye to their mum and dads on Waterloo Station. Mm-hmm. They weren't allowed any further. Then they had to go to a camp. So it was quite a rigorous palaver.
And then with their brides' trains, how was it?
A train from Waterloo.
Right. Specifically for GI brides?
Specifically for GI brides,
wow.
Exactly. And they were known as the GI brides. And then it was all the GI brides on that particular ship that went over.
You talk also about the original powwow and the Navajo Enemy Way ceremony.
Well.
How far do you want to... Because I know that's sort of the second...
That's a rather marvellous surprise, you see.
Yeah, okay. Should we leave that where it is?
Well, let's leave that because it happens in Albuquerque. And it's where one of our heroines meets her husband in quite unusual and surprising circumstances.
And again, because
all true.
Yeah, the book the story very happily, very sort of comfortable in its own skin, stays around 1 or 2 square miles of London for the first first 100 pages.
Yes.
But then we do end up not only in America, not only in New York, but in Albuquerque as well.
Exactly.
And there is intrigue, there is jeopardy, there is dastardly goings on, there is post-war daring do.
Yes.
From ne'er-do-wells that
right. Well, domestic spies who were telling the Germans what was going on, surprisingly.
Unbelievable.
All undercover.
And again, all based on fact, drawn from things that really happened, from this pile of letters. So these letters are from your mate's mum.
That's right.
Who were they to?
Her.
Right, okay.
Or her fiancés.
I see. So between the
love
two
letters.
of them. Okay,
yes.
so and sacks of love letters.
Yes, truly. Oh, wow. Or letters, to mum and dad or something, because everybody wrote letters then.
Yeah.
And they also wrote telegrams to each other, but they were all rather good telegrams, like I'm safe. They weren't. There's a theme, isn't there, sometimes in films that you see when somebody comes to the front door and takes their hat off and say, "I'm very sorry to tell you, blah blah," that your son or your husband. That didn't happen. It was much worse than that. They used to have their letters returned to sender, the deceased. Or a ghastly formal letter from the War Office.
My mum talked about the factories that she worked in. If the telegraph boy or girl turned up, the factory floor went silent.
I bet.
Oh,
I bet.
Because they knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And it was like, as much as you didn't want it to be anyone, when the telegram boy or girl walked past you, there was this huge sense of relief at somebody else's expense. And it was such a conflict of emotions.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Oh, we don't know we're born, Celia.
Aren't we lucky?
And by the way, how well does this lend itself to an on-screen adaptation, which we hear is going to happen?
Just happened, isn't it thrilling?
Who's going to make it, and where's it? We're going to
Saffron Cherry,
right?
Saffron Cherry Productions. That's Sally Lindsay.
I love Sally Lindsay.
Well, you see, she knows what goes.
She's going to be in it.
Of course.
Yes.
I hope, anyway.
You're going to be in it?
Hope. Why not? Might as well. But Fidelis Morgans, whose idea the whole book was, went to Sally Lindsay back in 2018, I think.
So this is on the way.
So it's Sally Lindsay who is part of Saffron Cherry. And yes, they're going to make it on television.
The Queen Mary gets a mention, more than a mention, because it was Queen Mary was commandeered, of course, as a warship. You talk about the fact that the Queen Mary is now it's in dry dock
in Long Beach.
And you're not happy with it, are you?
No, it's
what's going on with the Queen Mary now?
Well, I hope that somebody said they're going to do some renovations. But honestly, you know, that bright scarlet funnel, which was very famous.
And it was the first thing they repainted, wasn't it? When they sort of took the ship out of its war clothes.
Grey clothes, yes. But it's quite dilapidated now. Right. I wish they would do something. Apparently they're going to, but it probably costs a lot of money. But I went there and I thought, oh dear, it's been very neglected.
Now, the minute I read about the Queen Mary in your book, I immediately thought about you and your various modes of travel. For people who don't know, you don't prefer to go to America for your various jobs on a boat. You will only go on a boat.
Yes.
Because?
Yes. Well, actually, because I had a couple of pulmonary embolisms, which are sort of dangerous to fly with.
Right.
So why take a risk? Also, I love it, Chris.
I know.
It's the best way to go.
I've never done it, but I'm sure it's amazing.
I promise you, it's total luxury. You're on the sea, ocean, and you get there and you're fresh.
Yeah.
And then I do what the girls, the GI brides did, because then when I go to Los Angeles, I go 3 nights on Amtrak.
Yeah.
On the train.
And it's a lovely way to do it. And, you know, we're only rushing towards one thing. We know how this ends, and apparently it doesn't end very well. Nobody ever gets out of this thing called life alive. So you're literally smelling the roses, or at least the diesel.
Well, I'm trying to do what the girls did.
Right.
You know, live for the moment and do.
And of course, when you get there, you've had more time to contemplate whatever it is you're going to do.
Yep.
You read books, you write books.
You're fresh.
You know, yeah, exactly.
No, it's gorgeous. Do try it one day, because honestly, you'll come out saying it's the only way to travel.
It's the only way to travel.
Yeah.
So I've just got back from holiday on Sunday. My wife and kids are still out in Los Angeles. And I took a taxi from an Uber from LAX to the Airbnb we were staying in. Mm. And I didn't get in a car again until I was going back to the airport 3 weeks later. And it's not about decisions, it's about rules. So that's a rule I've made for myself over the last few years. It's a silly rule, I can break it if I want to, but I just love it. And because I make the decision straight away, it changes my whole experience. And I am so on board, forgive the pun, with the way you go about things. I think it's fantastic.
It is. So where were you in Los Angeles that you could walk around?
Venice.
Ah, marvellous.
Yeah. I would walk around, cycle around. So the first thing we did when we got there was...
What a good idea. That's a wonderful rule.
We buy 6 bikes. Because it's cheaper to buy them than rent them, because we're there for so long.
Yep.
And then we either give them away or we sell them back to the shop when we do the same thing.
You see, I'd take my hat off to you. Well, if I had a hat, I'd take it right off now.
I've got mine, so I'll take it off. Do my haircut, by the way.
Well done.
Now, talking of America, you are very good friends with Dame Emma Thompson.
Yes.
And did you know about the Donald Trump story before she talked about it at the weekend? And what is the Donald Trump story for anybody who may have just landed from another planet?
Well, as far as I remember, and I saw this ages ago,
right.
She was in a trailer and the telephone rang.
Yes.
And it was Mr. Trump inviting her out on a date. Is that right?
Well, that's the story.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah, and because she says that he read that she and Kenneth Branagh had just split up.
So he thought he'd get in there?
It's straight away, apparently.
Oh, honestly.
Yeah. She talked about it. I think was it on the Graham Norton show? I can't remember. Over the weekend.
I think that's where I saw it.
Yeah.
Yes, or something.
Yeah. So you and America, you and other projects, you're never not busy. You're always in demand. And I'm hearing that Celebrity Traitors UK, not only are you in it, but it's already happened. You filmed it. It's in the can. And you can't talk about...
Am I going to tell you anything? No, afraid not. No, absolutely not.
I'm not even digging.
No,
I'm not
great.
even scratching the surface.
No, because otherwise I get into terrible trouble.
Of course you do.
I'm very good at keeping secrets.
Can you talk about, then, in that case...
Yes. It was fun, by the way. I did love it.
You can talk about the fact it's fun.
I loved it.
Tell us about what it's like filming The Traitors. Tell us about that.
Well, you see, I'm half Scots.
Right.
So to be up in Inverness and all its beauty... and it Bluebell season. Yeah. So when I went out for a walk. So, I had a great time.
Yeah,
I loved
Celia
it.
Imrie has told us about the Bluebell season whilst filming The Traitors. Stick that
That's
on
all right,
social
isn't it?
media. Absolutely. We've got the scoop.
Yes.
There were bluebells.
Good.
Right. You can also talk about the Richard Osman film, can't you? So this is the Thursday Murder Club.
Yep.
You're in the first film. It's a Spielberg production?
Yes, can you get it?
Did you meet Spielberg? Have you met? Do you know him?
No.
Have you been out for dinner with him?
No, but I might one day.
What was it like? Where did it happen?
Well,
what can you say?
He arrived in his helicopter.
Did he?
On set.
Whereabouts?
Yeah. We were in the place where you see the main location near Reading. Very beautiful.
So Spielberg in a helicopter landing in Reading.
Can you get it?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It is. I can't,
And you're one of the main gang.
Apparently.
So can you tell us about...
I played Joyce, who is an ex-nurse.
Yeah.
And luckily I have 2 angel sisters who are nurses, so they gave me lots of background.
Okay.
Truly, I sort of can't believe my luck. It was great.
Yeah.
It was really great.
And you get a feeling on set, because you know this as well as anybody alive today. You get a feeling on set when there's a gang show going on. And when there's a gang show going on, that often comes over on screen.
Well, yes. And it's interesting because I've worked with Dame Helen on Calendar Girls.
Right.
20 years ago.
Okay, so who else is in the film with you?
And Dame Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, who I did
I've heard of both of those.
Love Punch with Emma Thompson, and Tim Spall, and Sir Ben Kingsley I hadn't met before, but we're the 4 gang.
Wow, but what a gang! That's unbelievable.
But the thing is that, yes, it's marvellous because we're familiar with each other, but at the beginning I had to pretend I didn't know them because I'm the outsider and I'm the one being brought in and I'm the new girl.
Do you mean you were acting?
I was acting.
She was acting again. She can't. You were pretending not to know them.
Exactly.
That's so funny, isn't it? Julia Garner, who's on our show a couple of weeks ago, who's just awesome and winning all the awards at the moment. She was in Ozark, of course, and all these other wonderful things. She says that she says that when she prepares for her roles, she makes certain decisions about the characters. She dives into who they are, and then she just arrives on set and then forgets all of it, forgets all that, and just begins to be that person and trust the work she's done, and just literally, she doesn't contemplate anything. She just falls on set and start. Do you?
Yes, I relate to that. I mean, because the thing is, it's not a one-woman show. You're going to have conversations with everybody who you come across.
Yeah.
So you can't prepare for that.
But what a cast, though, eh?
I know. Can you?
That's like the Beatles, isn't it? It's like the Beatles deciding to get back together and make a film. Wow. And there are others, of course. There are
David Tennant, Richard E. Grant.
Yeah. What a laugh.
Yeah, Tom Ellis. Yeah, no, it's marvellous.
Did it feel like a big shoot?
Yes, huge.
What is that? What's the difference between
small,
medium, large?
I'd say gigantic. No, I would. I'll tell you why. Because I've never had a trailer like that before.
Now, this is what people say.
Honestly.
You can tell the size of the epic proportions of a production by the trailerage.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't usually sort of notice things like that.
And you don't demand things like that. You don't have any diva in you whatsoever.
Well, you don't believe that.
But pretty big trailers.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool, isn't it? Mm. And you've been on, if you think about the ABBA show, the Mamma Mia's and the other huge, the Bridget Jones films, how does it compare to those? Would it be the biggest ever so far, or?
I suppose for me, because in the other shows I didn't have very much to do. For instance, Ol Parker, who wrote Exotic Marigold, who I adore.
Round of applause, please, for Exotic Marigold. Just drop that in then. Oh, okay. Not just the one movie, but the 2 movies.
Okay. And I loved that he called the second one the second best Exotic Marigold. I mean, because it's so witty. He got into trouble for that, but it was wonderful. But he rang me up one day and said, Seals, how do you fancy doing an opening number in Mamma Mia?
Wow.
So I'm only in the beginning, but I got into the top 10 singing When You Kiss the Teacher.
See?
I mean, you see, it's never too late.
It's never too late, and you're having all the fun. How does it feel? How is it being you nowadays? Are you more relaxed? Are you've never been unhappy in your own skin, but where are you?
Well, I liken our life to a game of snakes and ladders.
Okay.
Because there are ups and there are on the floor downs. Really.
Like the stock market.
Yeah, exactly.
Ups and downs.
Yes. But I mean, it's not, and also in your confidence.
Yeah.
Up and down. So you never quite know what's happening. I love not knowing what's happening. Right. I mean, I love that I didn't know what was going to happen this morning with you. I knew I'd have a good time because you're so good and brilliant.
Oh, thanks.
But, and I was thrilled that you'd got into the book and loved it so much.
You have to, because I know this is, interviewing people isn't about asking questions and talking. It's about giving you a good listening to.
Exactly. And guess what? I'm interviewing Richard Osman next month.
Right.
So I'm writing down all my questions. I'm going to give him a really hard time, by the way. Oh, yeah.
How can one give Richard Osman a hard time? By the way, he's unflappable.
Well, I know. I'll try. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
No, of course not. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
You've got to be so careful what you say these days, Chris.
Well, you say
do.
that.
Well,
yeah, but we're cool.
You sort of don't mind.
We're cool together, though, aren't we?
We are. We are.
And I think as long as we're being genuine and we're being authentic and we're in the moment, and there's that whole great thing about if you live in the moment. Yeah, we know about the moment, living in the moment. But if you can, you give all your energy to that, and that looks after you. Yes. Because there's no sort of interruption or distance or unhelpful perspective, like your own sort of firewall between you and what you're saying. Because that's what's going to trip you up. Well, that's trying to be too careful.
Exactly, but that's why we're talking with each other. We don't know what the other person's going to say. Yeah. But I'm interested to hear about your mum and her woodbines. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Because I've got the picture immediately. So our interview is about both of us.
Into being.
Yeah.
Well, that's what my favourite monk says, taking out a hand. You don't be, you into be. And there's Celia with me, there's Celia with her agent, there's Celia with her family, there's Celia with her co-stars.
And Celia with her grandson outside.
You have your grandson here?
Jude. Yes.
Little Jude.
Little Jude.
Hey, Jude.
Yes, exactly.
So cool, Celia. Anything else we need to get out there while you're here? Because we've got to make the most of you. Oh. What's this, The Temptation of Gracie?
That's sort of in waiting to go, waiting.
Have you made that?
No.
No, you're not.
No, that's
but that's going to happen.
Yes.
Isla Fisher, Andy McDowell, Rupert Everett, Isabella Rossellini.
It's all in the waiting room.
Rupert Everett was in here last year, and we were saying that why isn't he in everything all the time?
Well, you see, we were in St. Trinian's together.
I know.
When I played his matron, he nearly threw me out the window.
Well, when I said that to him, because he wrote this amazing book last year, he said, "Oh, could you, would you like to be my agent?" It's like, he said, "Chris, the phone, you wouldn't believe how little the phone rings." And he's never been anything other than brilliant.
And he writes so well.
He writes amazingly well.
But also, he's good fun.
He's good fun. He's gorgeous. He's infinitely deep. And we said that we wanted him and Richard, who you mentioned before.
E. Grant?
We want Richard E. Grant and Rupert Everett to be in a buddies movie. We don't care what they're doing. No. We just want to see them on screen together.
Exactly. No, Rupert's an absolute darling. He's gorgeous, as you say, clever. And good fun.
Yeah, wickedly witty.
Oh, wickedly witty. But also his film about Oscar Wilde, I love.
Unbelievable.
Didn't you?
It's one of the greatest films.
Because he had the darker side and didn't mind showing that as well.
It says here on the front cover of your book, the Sunday Times best-selling novelist Celia Imrie.
I have great help from my collaborator, Fidelis Morgan, though. I couldn't do it
at
on
Rainbow
my own.
Con. It says here, utterly charming and engrossing, says Joanna Lumley.
Dame Joanna.
I know. First of all, it's great to get that on from Joanna Lumley on the front cover. And I know she's a proper mate of yours, and you're in something with her soon as well. Yeah. But it says just Joanna Lumley. I would have stuck in the Dame there for the extra print, for the extra 4 letters.
She's probably so modest, though. She doesn't mind.
She is.
You see. But what I love about the cover is that they're doing the jitterbug, you see. They're doing the dancing.
See, I wouldn't know a jitterbug from a giant bunny.
You would.
No, I wouldn't.
Your mum would.
My mum would have, yeah. Celia, I love you.
I love you
look
too.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
The south of France is still clearly treating you very well.
Oh, it's my paradise.
I know it is. And how'd you get there again? Train. I know, but it's like literally from here to there. How would you do it?
Would you get
a tube or a taxi from here?
I could get a tube. I'd go to St Pancras, get on the Eurostar. Yep. Then I would get maybe a tube or a taxi from Gare du Nord to Gare de Lyon. Yep. And then 5.5 hours on the train. Yeah. And the last hour is all along the coast from Marseille. Yeah. And I'm in heaven.
And that's how she rolls. Celia, great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank
Can
you
we
for
hear
having
it, please,
me.
for Celia, the one, the only Celia Imrie. Amazing.
Thank you.
You're the best. You are the best.
You are.